6, Cameron R-1 Board of Education meeting. If you would all rise, let's say the pledges together. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The vision of the Cameron R-1 School District is to offer an exceptional educational experience, and the mission of the Cameron R-1 School District is to educate and empower our students to reach their full potential. And so it is my pleasure, as the first part of this meeting, to recognize some staff members who exemplify those two statements. We have some Dragon Excellence Awards, and so as I call your name, please come up and receive your award. Dragon Excellence Award. This certificate is presented to Ida Kemper for contributing to a vision of excellence in the Cameron R-1 School District by being named the 2026 Northwest Region's Outstanding Assistant Principal. Yes, Matthew Neely.
Yes.
Well, we're still going to recognize it.
Okay.
For contributing to a vision of excellence in the Cameron R-1 School District by achieving an educational specialist generalist degree from Northwest Missouri State University. Ms. Whitney Hauk for contributing to a vision of excellence in the Cameron R-1 School District by achieving a specialist degree in education leadership, principalship from Arkansas State University. Thank you. Thank you. And last but not least, Kayla Riley for contributing to a vision of excellence in the Cameron R-1 School District by achieving a specialist degree in education leadership, principalship from Arkansas State University. I love that we have 4 of those. That's excellent. Thank you, staff. Thank you so much for your hard work. All right. Consideration of the proposed agenda. Do I have a motion to move forward as presented or any changes?
Move to accept as presented.
I have a motion by Mrs. Ice.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grenier. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. So the first item on the agenda is review of restrictions, and this is a review of Mr. Landy's restrictions, which were passed in September. So at this time, we will allow Mr. Landy to address the board, and then he will have 5 minutes to address the board. He can reserve up to 3 for rebuttal, and then we'll have Mr. Robinson make a statement. The board will consider, and then I'm recusing myself from this particular piece, although I'll facilitate, but I will not participate in discussion or in the vote. So with that, is Mr. Landy available?
Mr. Landy, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Landy?
Are you there?
Yes.
Yep. 5 minutes, Mr. Landy?
Okay. Are you waiting on me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Now, real quick, I don't get 10 minutes like I did last time?
Mr. Landy, this is a review of your prior restrictions, and so this is a 5-minute review. It's not a full hearing like the first time. It's a review of the hearing.
Okay, but 2 additional charges, right? I mean, so that's what we're going to talk about, those 2 charges?
Not additional, just a review with additional information.
Okay. All right. Twisting words, but all right. Here we go. Let us pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Glory be to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Thank you, in the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. All right. I've been accused of 2 violations, I guess, or 2, whatever you want to call them. The letter I received saying that I committed 2 violations. Video recording on district property and a comment that I made on Facebook. So I guess we'll address them one at a time. The video recording, it is true. I made a recording of Gina Bainham, of my interaction with Gina Bainham on December the 9th. At that time, I was at the district office with permission, right? I filed for my candidacy for the school board, and my wife was with me. We left that office, and we were walking out the door, and on our way out, we passed Mrs. Bainham's office. And I could see inside her door, which was open, right? I saw inside the door, she was in there decorating a Christmas tree that was sitting on a desk. And so I stopped short of, I didn't go in there, I stopped outside of her office, in the open doorway, knocked on the door, and then verbally said, knock, 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 Miss Bainham, I greeted her, she greeted me, she came to the door and met me there, and I told her why I was there, and that I was there for my candidacy to file for the school board, and that while I was there, I would like to make a records request. She denied, right, saying that because of my restrictions that I have to do that, I guess, via email. I mean, that's what you all told me. I couldn't make a request even though I was right there. She wasn't busy. She wasn't, I didn't interrupt. I didn't, all that. So because of Mrs. Bainham's prior history of lying and making false accusations, I thought it wise to videotape that encounter, even though my wife was present. That is why I videotaped it, to cover myself against false accusations. And so I did. And so I guess apparently I committed a violation. I wasn't supposed to be recording on school property. But I was there during school hours with permission in a public part of the building, and the building itself is public. It's to conduct business. So, I really think y'all are grasping at straws on this one. You're doing anything you can to keep me out of the school board meetings. I also think this is also could be considered election interference. I'm a candidate for school board, and I know everyone knows that that you all don't want me on the board, and I get that. It's plain to see. But by taking these kind of actions, retaliatory actions against me, that is wrong and retaliatory in nature, and I think that's why you're doing it. So I think that's your motivation. Missouri law, statute 542.402. Missouri State Statute 542.402 allows for video recording in public places as long as one of the parties involved in the recording knows about it. So I was one of the parties, I was recording, I knew about it, so that met that criteria. The only other criteria that had to be met is that I wasn't committing a crime, okay, and I wasn't. So you have no legal authority to tell me that my video recording was wrong. It may be against policy, but your policy runs afoul of state law. And you as an attorney, Mrs. Lockridge, should know better. As a matter of fact, you all do know better. I know you do. You have attorneys on the payroll advising you. They should know better. And they do know. Y'all do know better. Again, this is election interference and retaliation. Number 2, you accuse me of making a threatening comment, I suppose. Again, grasping at straws. The actual comment that I made, on Facebook, back in November 25th, I think it was, on the Cameron Community Forum, there was a discussion about, I forget exactly what, but anyway, someone had mentioned something about
All right, Mr. Landi, your 5 minutes is up, sir. Your 5 minutes is up. Please conclude. Thank
can't hear
you.
Ma'am, you're cutting out.
Your 5 minutes is up. Thank you for your statement.
I get a rebuttal, right?
Nope, you used your whole 5 minutes.
No, you said I got a 3-minute rebuttal.
I said up to 3 minutes of your 5 minutes, which I communicated to you in writing very clearly. That's your time.
That's all right, ma'am, that's all right. I'll explain myself on social media to the public.
I'm sure you will. Okay, Dr. Robinson?
The board is convened for review and reconsideration of Mr. Landy's current restrictions. I provided you with a copy of the original restriction letter and the updated restriction letter as refreshers. In one of his, Mr. Landy made a comment on Facebook likening Goodrich Auditorium to Ford's Theater. As we're all aware, Ford's Theater was the location of the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. The existence of this comment was reported to me by a patron, and the reasonable interpretation of this comment is that Mr. Landy was making a not so thinly veiled reference to violence. I don't find that funny or cute. Mr. Landy was permitted access to district property for a specific and limited purpose on December 9th. He again violated the restriction in place by making contact with the custodian of records to make a sunshine request, meanwhile taping the entire thing. And this is after he was directed by the board to make those records requests via mail or email and not in person. The Board of Education and district staff have the right to conduct school business in an environment without disruption and without harassment. The district has made appropriate concessions to ensure that Mr. Landy is able to listen to board meetings, add items to the agenda, and to make record requests. I would request that the board keep the current restrictions in place. That's my statement.
Okay. So now it's up to the board to have discussion or action on the current restrictions, so.
Well, I have a question for the attorney, but
If you want to go into closed session, you can move to go into closed session and you all can go up and give her a call and get back down, if you would like.
I move we go into closed session.
I have a motion by Mrs. Ice to go into closed session pursuant to 610-021 legal, which is section 2. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Clark.
Yes.
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 Abstain? Okay. So, while the 6 board members that are making this decision go up and consult legal counsel, we will suspend and come back in when they come back down, so. Okay, yep. So I will take a motion to go back into open session.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Clark,
Second.
second by Mr. Grenier, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Actually, I shouldn't have voted that, I abstained from that one. We're back in open session, and I'll open the floor back up to the board members for discussion.
the reason I wanted to go and visit with the attorney was, I think it's statute 542.402 that Mr. Landi had mentioned. Just wanted to clarify a couple of things with our attorney. So.
Speak louder,
Oh,
project your
okay.
voice.
Yeah, so I wanted to clarify about 542.402 with our attorney, ask a few questions. And so from what I understand, the original ban was based on the fact that Mr. Landi recorded activity on district property, and he did not have the authorization by the superintendent.
And so we are back here again with the same situation and conduct. So while he was still banned, he was allowed to come in to the district building to file as a candidate for school board. However, he did not make a request to Dr. Robinson and get approval to begin videotaping. So as I see it, he violated his ban while he was here at central office filing.
Yeah, I see it the same way. I see he violated the ban with the same thing he was banned for.
Correct. And
Underneath,
in addition to that, he also admitted it in his statement.
yeah.
So I think that there are grounds to uphold the ban.
So I would piggyback on that. So the current ban was set forth due to the breaking of district policy C-165P. So, which states the district prohibits audio and visual recordings on district property, district transportation, or district activity unless authorized by the superintendent. So with that being the case, that is what the original ban was for. So it was within the same timeline of the original ban, and that's why we're here tonight. So I think if the ban was in place due to the breaking of policy 165, Mr. Landi openly admitted that he re-broke the policy on the day that he was in here to do his paperwork. So, I mean, I think that it was the same occurrence of the same policy breaking at different timelines while under the same ban. So just kind of everything ties together through that. I mean,
So I think at minimum we uphold the ban. I don't know if there's any discussion as to whether or not we should extend it or not.
I would agree with Jackie. I think that the ban that was in place, we were looking for certain targets to be hit within that, right? That way we could revisit this discussion, and this has been revisited with another breakage of the same ban. So with that, I would say that we uphold and maybe move this further, a little longer. That way we can get the results out of this. All we're asking is for people to come in here and follow the policies within our buildings. So.
So what you're saying is not only uphold the ban, but extend it out.
I would think, we set a target date within this, and, at the end of that, if everything was all right, I think that we probably would be in a different conversation right now. So, with what happened within this ban, it would be my opinion that I think that we need to uphold and extend.
And this has been the third time it's been violated.
I think this would be the third violation.
Does anyone have any recommendation on the timeline for extending the ban?
And the original one is supposed to end May 31st?
May 31st of 2026. So that is in our letter here from September 2nd of 2025 that Mr. Landi received. So, as you can go through these, the latest letter was December 30th, 2025, stating the two offenses that were discussed tonight. So,
Yeah, in good faith, we offered to reconsider this in January, and it was violated with the exact same thing that the initial ban letter from August was. So I agree. I think we uphold and consider extending it.
I make a motion to, in light of Mr. Landi's conduct of videoing at central office on December 9th by violating policy C-165-P while under his current ban, to uphold the current ban and extend it until January of 2027.
I have a motion by Mr. Grenier. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Early. We'll do a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Recuse.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes. So Mr. Landi's ban is extended until, what date did you say, January?
January of 2027.
January of 2027. Okay.
I assume we'll send a letter again like we have.
We will send Mr. Landy a notice of the decision, yes. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Peck,
Second.
second by Mrs. Early. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Non-action reports.
Star report.
I'm gonna leave this to Emily. So in previous board reports where I talked about different things, and I kept talking about our new program, Star Phonics. Tonight, you get to hear about it because she did conclude some testing. So I'm gonna let her take that away.
Okay, well, my name is Emily White. I am the reading teacher at Parkview. I do kindergarten through second grade. And a lot of our reading assessments that we do is based on Star Renaissance. It's the programming. And this year, they came out with this new program called Star Phonics, which I saw it and I absolutely loved it, because it correlates really well with the reading assessments that we do give school-wide, and it really targets the phonics instruction, which is such a crucial part in early literacy and K2. So I thought I'd kind of go over it really quick on kind of what it looks like and from the teacher's perspective and what the students see, and just all the really cool things that it shows us and gives us direction for our school. So an overview is that it's a computer adaptive assessment and instructional tool that was created by Renaissance to evaluate and support early reading development. It was designed for students in early elementary grades and focuses on foundational phonics and literacy skills. So the way it works is it is on the computer, it's computer-based, and it assesses letter sound correspondence, decoding, and early word recognition. And the way it works, you'll see in a little bit, is it's used by nonsense words, and so when the students are doing the assessment, they're not real words. That way we're really looking if they know the phonics skill and not just memorizing words, because a lot of times, like a kid, or even us, if you look at the word dog, you know that that's dog without sounding it out. You just know. So that's why you'll see in a little bit that it uses nonsense words to make sure that they really know the phonics skill. So the results are generated immediately. So it's providing teachers with detailed data and individual strengths and areas of weaknesses. The data is aligned with other Renaissance tools such as Star Early Literacy, and gives a more complete picture of students' reading development. So it kind of works hand in hand. How it's used in the classroom: it's used as a screening tool to identify students that may need additional phonics support. The assessment can be used to help inform small group instruction, targeted interventions, and individualized reading plans, like our reading success plans that we do. It helps with progress monitoring that allows teachers to track growth over time and adjust their instruction based on students' performance. The tool supports data-driven decision-making, helping educators determine when students are ready to move on to more advanced reading skills or required continued intervention. And then also the results can be shared with parents to explain reading processes and instructional goals in clear, measurable terms. I really like that because I know as teachers or administrators, we can use all these fancy terms and all these phonics skills and all this, but this is a very visual way to show parents and teachers exactly where their kids are. So I kind of took some screenshots here of what it looks like, just because it's a lot easier to see it versus say it. I don't know if it will pop up there.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up on the other.
There we go. So when we give it, it kind of looks like this. This is what the teachers see. So you can see the words are nonsense, they're not real, but each box kind of is a part of a phonics skill. So they read the word to you and you can check mark, yep, they got it correct, or you can hit the yellow one saying, oh, they knew the phonics skill, but they couldn't blend the word together. Or you can do an X if they just were clueless and were just saying random things. So that's kind of what it looks like on the teacher side. And then if you go to the next one, this is like the coolest part of it all because it instantly gives you all of those reports. So this one right here is the grade as a whole. So if you put all of the second grade classes together, it generates exactly as a grade level where they are. Like the green, so each bar would be a specific phonics skill. So you can just look overall what they know and what they need work on, what needs to intervention. So like as a group entirely, okay, what are we doing? What's working really well? What's something that we need to hit a little harder? And it also shows you things that have already been taught and things that are yet not been taught. So that it shows you as a grade kind of where students fall. And then the next one is a class. So it's kind of the same thing, but now it's just your class size. So it can show you in your class what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, where you really need to focus your attention to. And then the next one is really neat because it has the students' names and it goes through each phonics skill as well and tells you with that student what they know, what they kind of know but need more work with, or intervention where we need to really reteach that. And then,
I'm so sorry.
no, go ahead.
Those particular spreadsheet things, would each parent be able to see that and where they're
Yeah.
standing? Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times the classroom teachers mainly use this one because it's not very detailed, so you really kind of have to understand what those phonics skills are, but you could definitely send that to a parent if you were trying to explain something to them. The next one down is individual students. So even would be ones that I would want to send home to parents because it's specific to their child. And you can see each skill, CVC for like consonant, vowel, consonant, and so for CVCC blends, CVCE with like the sneaky E in there, digraphs, and so forth. So you can really see for each student exactly where they are and what they need to work on. And then the last one, this is probably one of my very favorite ones, and this would be one that I think parents could really visualize and see that you could send home, that it shows all of the phonics skills on there, and it will show them exactly which words they've met, which ones they don't. If it's red, that means they missed it. If it's white, that means they read it right. So it really just shows you exactly what we need to work on with each individual student, what we could do in small group, what we could do in tutoring, what you can do in the classroom. And this is all based on one little assessment screener that we do at the beginning, middle, and end of the year. And that takes like 3 to 5 minutes per kid. So it's really amazing how we can know exactly what kids need to work on. And if you had a teacher that was unsure about teaching phonics, like this is just, hey, here we are. This is what you need. So it's a really amazing program. I appreciate and I'm very thankful that you guys allowed us to purchase this because it definitely is helping kids become more successful. And on one more thing, I love it for the students too because we do like a pre and a post test, and I just love showing students their own results, and it's just instant. And I could show kids, hey, look, you didn't know any of these are all red, and then here you give them this one, and it's not anymore. And I mean, even in second grade, they know and they see that, and just the joy that you can give those kids just on an assessment is pretty amazing. So that's really all I have to say. Sorry
And this
if I
is our
talked too
first
much.
year with the star.
Yes, yeah, this is the first year that we've done this, so. And it really ties into other reading, because it's through Renaissance, so it really ties into all the other programs that we use too. So it kind of just really correlates nicely, so, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mrs. White.
Thank you. Moving on to the bond update, Dr. Robinson.
No,
You think
the government.
Oh, sorry.
That's, Mary Jo.
I've got an old agenda. Yes, I do.
Okay, we just wanted to give you just some exciting news, some overview. So it's never a bad time to talk about some of the amazing kids that we have. And the high school has some amazing young adults. And in November, 13 of our CHS students traveled to Jefferson City to spend the weekend at the Missouri YMCA Youth and Government Conference. In preparation of this attendance, the students had to apply. They had to fill out scholarship applications. They had to choose delegations. They had to do some research. They had to understand what the delegation meant and those tasks that went along with that choice. There are campaigns, there's elections, we do a full mock government with proceedings, and this happens over a 3-day time span there in Jefferson City in a big convention center. So our students chose the following. Our media, which is responsible for all social media relations, the evening newsletter that goes out and gets slipped under your door that you read in the morning, all the promotional materials, the bio posts for all of the elected officials and candidates, coverage for all the events. Those students were Ella Horvaton, Kendall Berry, and Haley Wiegers. They worked really hard to create a community-centered tour of the Capitol. They provided quality press coverage for the entire conference proceedings, and they conducted interviews and crafted bios for those running for office. They did a great job, super proud of them. Our legislative team this year, which they're responsible for writing their own bills. They briefed their committee in the proceedings in the House of Representatives, in the actual House of the Capitol, which is really special for them. These young ladies were Brooklyn Durham, Olivia Carr-Knott, and Sophia Rollitz. They delivered well-prepared speeches. They refuted any foreseen debate with poise and articulation. You should be super impressed. That's not an easy thing to do, to stand up in front of your peers and articulate laws and ordinances with claims and evidence and reasoning. So pretty cool. They voted to sustain bills. They spoke in opposition, which is, as you know, equally difficult to speak in opposition of something. They represented intelligence and high moral character to a very, very large audience of their peers. So super impressed by those ladies. And last but certainly not least was our judicial team. These young ladies chose judicial because they wanted to look at becoming attorneys, or they wanted to understand the Missouri appellate court system. They spent weeks reviewing a large case file. The references, they researched to write briefings. They understood courtroom decorum, they practiced. They used opening arguments and rebuttals. They learned how to run a time clock and reserve time for rebuttals. They do all this in front of a panel of judges of their peers. The rogue judges grade them on their knowledge of the case law, court decorum, and proceedings, and if they win their argument or not. They complete 2 trials, and each time they are on a different side of the case, so they have to both represent the plaintiff or the defendant and the respondent. They go back and forth based on the draw of the trial. So they have to know both sides of the case, which is a huge challenge for even a seasoned attorney. They worked well into the night, strengthening their arguments. They were impressive. They were impressive co-counsel. They demonstrated grace under pressure, evidence-based arguments, and professionalism. Our attorneys were Charlie Youngs, Elsie Walker, Gianna Manns, Addie Early, Ireland Williams, Braylon Vaughn, and Reese Murphy. Overall, each of these CHS students represented some of the brightest minds, along with outstanding character, among the over 600 conference attendees. They showed amazing fortitude and incredible self-control during long meetings. They didn't just perform, their behavior and character stood out. We're always complimented on our CHS kids. So as usual, we are blessed to call them dragons. So, thanks for your time.
And I just want to add, Mrs. Williams spent, I don't know how many hours with these students, and should be commended for the time that she spent with these students, making sure that they were prepared to go down. It's a great program. These students not only learned all of these skills, you will see them in our community, that they speak to adults, they are more confident in their skills and the things that they do. And we also took eighth graders as well, and they're part of the Civic Leadership Institute. And those 8 students get to learn about all the different areas of the program, and they represented Cameron well. In fact, we had 3 students, I think, that received awards.
Outstanding awards.
Outstanding legislative awards. And they learned how to write a bill and how to debate and how to present and those types of things, so.
All of which, by the way, under full scholarship.
Yes.
So unheard of precedents. We sent all of these young adults under full scholarship. So thanks to our generous sponsors and our donations and our community that is investing in our young adults. So we're super proud.
Yeah, 100% supported by the community.
Absolutely.
And I've had other YMCAs and other schools contact me about how do you do that and how do you, because these kids, some kids pay $400 or $500 to attend this, and we don't want our students to not be able to go. So we make sure we do what we can to get
We always tell them we don't know, but we work hard, we plan for the worst, and we hope for the best. And so far, our young adults have really been taken care of. So we're pretty blessed. So be proud of them.
Yes.
Thank you, Terry Jo, too. I mean,
100%.
all the work that you do to help to make sure, and Ms. Zubek for.
Yes.
Absolutely. And they will probably come to represent middle school at some point. But yeah. So those girls.
And we would have had students here tonight, but they're scattered 13 different directions.
They are run the gauntlet of winter sports right now. So
And show choir and
oh, you name it.
things.
You name it. Do you have any questions or any concerns or anything you need to?
I'll just
know?
say the time and effort that the 2 of you put into this truly stands out. I'll say that as a school board member, as a parent, as of one of the children that goes with you guys for the second time, it's top notch what you guys are doing. So congrats. I know Mary Jo, you go around to everybody, all the businesses, and get the fundraising side done. And Ms. Williams, I mean, you put a lot of effort in with the children. So it stands out. It's talked about in our own household. So thank you guys. Awesome.
I'm really thankful that the tradition continues in this community. My kids got to participate years ago, and it continues, and it's grown, and the excitement around the program has grown, and great things have come from it.
We're hoping for a good crop to send the boys and girls state and to really push and get them some good leadership opportunities. So
This
get
is
them out there.
this is the largest group we've sent at 21 students. So
What has we done?
we've been going for over 20 years, and this is the largest group that we've sent. So.
I won't say 13 teenage girls by yourself is easy, but we got it done. But we got it done.
That was part of the thanks.
Thanks, Lily.
Thank you guys. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Okay, now the bond update.
Yes. Quick update on the bond issue. We had, obviously passed last April. We've already done one of those projects. That was the Parkview roof that finished up at the end of November. Everything was pretty good there, although we got some heavy rains in January. We found out we had small leaks in the kitchen, so they are back fixing. It is under warranty, but always a little frustrating when you spend a lot of money and you get that happen. But luckily it was just in the kitchen area, so it wasn't in the classroom or something like that. But we started getting, I think, fixed. Actually, I think they were there today. So anyways, the other part of the bond issue is the high school addition. We've had the plans, we've kind of looked through those with Dr. Lanigan, Mr. Erdman, I think they shared those with their staff. Right now our timeline is, those have been advertised, those are out. There'll be a pre-bid meeting on the 27th of January, so any of the contractors that want to walk around can do that. They'll be able to look at where we're looking at doing all this stuff, and if they want to ask questions of the architects, they can do that at that point in time. Usually most of the bidders will show up to that. They may ask a few questions. They just kind of want to see it more in person and see the actual piece. So we'll do that on that January 27th. And then on February 10th, I believe at 2 o'clock, bids are due. And so we'll have a bid meeting here. And so any of those companies will come in. The architect at 2 o'clock will start opening bids. They'll go through, make sure they got all the bonds, all the stuff. And And then they'll come up with a whole list, and they give those out to everybody, so everybody knows who bid what. And then the next week, we have a meeting, and then we'll decide on the actual vendor for that project. And then I would say by the time we sign contracts, do all those things, you know, we could be mobilizing and doing some stuff. You might see some trailers and electricity and maybe some dirt moving in March. And so we're still an anticipated date of, we'd like to kind of say the date's going to be May of 27. And then that gives us a couple months that we can actually be ready for, you know, August. But I think right now we're planning on May of 27 is where we'll try to set our dates at and where we need to be done. That way if we have to do other stuff, we have time to do it. So because we really need that first building to be done before we can start tearing off the south end and doing that. And that's going to have to be all done after school's out in between that time. So we're going to have a pretty short window on that 3 months. So to tear off the building, re-facade it, and be ready. So that's where we're at with the bond, but getting ready to spend a lot of money. So.
Yeah, exciting, it's exciting.
Thank you. Moving on to the legislative update.
Yeah, I just wanted to go over a little bit of the state of the state that Governor Kehoe just did about a week ago. A lot of different stuff in there, a lot of different impacts. State of Missouri is not unlike a lot of school districts in Missouri, and we had a good run with extra federal funding. We had a lot of other programs, a lot of stuff offered. A lot of those things aren't around anymore. Even the state of Missouri and some of the revenues aren't keeping up, so we're seeing a budget shortfall already. I think right now they're anticipating about $1 million budget shortfall, and while the government has a pretty good reserve, it's going to get probably eaten up within about a year before it's out. And so a couple things that the governor laid out, which again, these are his recommendations. They don't mean that they're going to happen. They have to go through the legislative process. But it does usually set the agenda for where we're going to head in the legislative session. Some of these we knew about, some of them we didn't. The income tax phase out. This is obviously a high priority of the governor. They've already reduced the income tax from 6% to 4.7%, which is a 22% reduction in your income tax. When we're starting to see the effects of that lost revenue already. The governor is looking at trying to phase that out completely. I think their plan is not before 2031, but they're planning to pass some resolutions and put that out to a vote of the people. And so I'd say if it does go to a vote of the people, I'd say that's probably a pretty good high percentage that will pass. I don't know too many people that don't want to see reduced taxes. The problem may be though that income tax, while that sounds good on one hand, that income tax right now funds about 65% of the budget for the state government. So while not paying those taxes is nice, you got to make up 65% of the state budget because that's where 65% of the revenue comes from. So that will be interesting. I think there's already a lot of discussions on how you make that up, whether that's a sales tax, whether that's an additional sales tax on different things, whether that's, who knows what. The other one that he did an executive order on was an A to F grade card. They've directed DESE to look at that. There's a couple different models I think they will look at. One of them that I heard today would probably put 50% of the schools in Missouri as D or F, and only about 25% in the C. So that only leaves 25% that could be an A or a B school. So.
What type of metrics do you notice?
I'm not really sure which ones they're going to use yet. I don't think they feel like the MSEP and the grades that we're doing for APR is. They just want to see test scores versus your test scores. They don't want to see how you did from year to year, which is the growth component of MSEP. And so it'll be interesting on what that is, because with MSEP we get, you know, graded for attendance, we get graded for ACT, we get, you know, all those different pieces. So this would strictly just be on a performance data piece. And so it will be interesting on how they use it. There's a couple different metrics I think they will look at. I just don't know which one they were talking about today, when they were talking about that the one they were running through today would probably put 50% of schools in the D and F category. They are, the governor is very much in for open enrollment across the board. I think that's something we've talked about for a long time and looked at. The state's looked at it for a long time. I think there's just been a lot of questions on the open enrollment that I still don't know that they can answer, that I'm just a little concerned about. You know, how does that mean if a kid wants to come here from a neighboring district and wants to come to Cameron? Do I have to transport them? Does the district have to transport them? How far do I have to go? If a kid wants to go to St. Joe, am I now responsible for taking, you know, one kid to St. Joe and one kid to Chillicothe and 3 kids to Liberty, and, you know, and I've got, you know, there's a lot of questions on how this is gonna be, or is that gonna be a parental thing? Is that gonna be, there's still questions that when it comes to open enrollment that, you know, it also changes because, you know, a district like us, we have a $4.34 tax levy. So if the money follows me to Liberty where they have $6, I'm sure Liberty's gonna be asking for the other $2. And I know it's more than $2, but if you know what I mean, they're gonna be wanting the extra run of that money. You know, do I collect the extra money if I educate a kid from a district that has a higher tax levy? Do I get that extra money? There's a lot of questions that open enrollment, but it's definitely a push by the governor. There's definitely a push by the property taxes. We've already seen some property tax relief with the 62 and older that we already have seen. Like I said, that's not something I'm opposed to. It's just something that is definitely going to have an impact on the districts as we continue to, you know, they call it a credit, but for us it's a loss. And so it's a loss of revenue, and if you continue to do different property taxes, in fact didn't have time today, so I kind of pawned it off a little bit on Chastity, but I was pawning off because they're also looking at a separate levy in each one of our categories. So now we pretty much pay one levy for everything, but what if you had a separate levy for your businesses at 33%, for your agriculture at 11%, for your residential at 19%, if you have a separate levy and you have 4 levies. And then couple that with the fact that we have 4 counties. So
That would make budgeting pretty difficult.
it could be a little bit more, so we're trying to figure out what type of impact that has. If it's gonna have an impact, there's only one state, or there's only one county in Missouri that currently does that, and it's St. Louis County. No other states do it. They levy everything in one levy. So, like I said, property tax, there's legislation to put the governor in charge of pretty much an oversight board for the Missouri State High School Activities Association, which is all of our activities, music, to every one of our sports, speech, drama, you name it, all those, to have a little bit more oversight. Currently that's ran by, the governing board is usually a principal or superintendent from each area. It's voted on by that area, and that's who's on the directing board. And this would be, they would keep a directing board, but they would also have an oversight board over them that would be appointed by the governor. And so that's also a high priority. At the pre-filed bills, was 600 bills more this year pre-filed than the previous year. Last year we set a record for bills being filed, and we're well on track to beating that record. They have till the end of February to keep filing bills, although by the time you get to the end of February and you're filing bills, it's probably not going to make it through the process of all the committees and everything else. But that's why usually the pre-filing, they allow them to start in December. You know, some of those people, if they just get elected, are already pre-filing before they've even been sworn in. And so we will see. Right now, I think there's 500 to 600 bills that have educational impact going through the legislation. So those range the gamut from A to F to property tax to you name it. So it will be interesting. We'll continue every month having a legislative update just to kind of let you know what bills are starting to move and where we're at, and if we need to, be contacting some of our representatives and letting them know the impact of what that's gonna do to Cameron School District, so.
It just seems like nobody likes taxes, but everyone likes services.
Yes.
And public education is the responsibility of, it's ingrained in our democracy that a free and fair public education is important. And not to lecture people that already get that, but please reach out to your representatives, because this could really hurt public education. Could hurt little towns with little schools.
Yeah.
Spent my life in education, and I just see it as really, you can't take away that much money and not have it hurt kids. It's going to hurt kids.
It's gonna hurt every service in Missouri. I mean,
Yeah.
if you take away in your income tax and you have no way of finding a solution for that revenue, there isn't a service in Missouri that couldn't be hurt by that, so.
Well, just because we reduce the taxes, gas prices still go up and
Right.
food prices still go up, and we still have to pay for those things here,
Yeah.
so that it's like from both sides you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
And I do think it's fair to point out that we do responsibly, we cut back as much as we can. I don't think we're out there just spending to spend. Certainly we've improved our facilities, but that's a democratic process.
We have, and I think that's where people will be a little confused. They'll see,
Yes.
the Cameron District's got a lot of money because they're doing buildings. Well, you have a bond issue, and that's, you have a bond debt, and we're paying off that debt, but then you pretty much have your other ones that are paying your salaries, your benefits, and while it's considered all part of that $4.30 some or whatever it is, yes, but that 99 cents is devoted towards those building projects. It's devoted towards those other pieces, and I can't use that money to go pay salaries. I guarantee the taxpayers I was gonna use that to pay off our debt so that we can have buildings, so that we can have some of these other things that we need to update. And so, we can't spend that same money on there. And so there is some confusion on, oh, you got money, you can do these things. Well, we can't. And eventually, like I said, we're looking down the road of, hey, we haven't done a tax increase for a while. We haven't done some of these other things. We've been able to do a whole lot of stuff, but we can't continue to see expenditures go up and revenues stay stagnant to not moving. And it's not a success. It wouldn't be a success in your house.
Right.
You spend more than you make every year, you don't make it very far. So.
Thank you.
Administrative reports, special services.
Well, after that, I have good news. Want to give you guys some dates, because on my upcoming dates, we didn't have our Special Olympics events locked down, but we have wiffle ball that we do with our softball and baseball team. That is slated for April 9th. That will go in conjunction with our Autism Awareness Night that evening. We play in Maryville, and so we will do where the kids can come out and throw out the first pitch and get into the game and get a little fun. So we thank the baseball team and softball team for helping with that. Kids, every time I see them in the hallway at the high school, they're asking, when's our next event? So they know that there's something coming. The other event that we have on the calendar will be May 6th. We are doing soccer to go with the World Cup event. I had to slide that one in because the end of the school year gets kind of crazy, and we already had events on the calendar, but we have a couple other schools that would like to do it, and so we're excited to throw that one in there as well. So May 6th. So we go February 12th to basketball at Plattsburgh, and then track and field we have at Lathrop on April 22nd. So those are the last Special Olympics events. I think I mentioned the last time we're not doing Job Olympics this year. We've decided to go every other year. The state is looking at helping with some of that because it's job skills, and that's something that they're pushing is the vocational. And so we decided, rather than try to continue every year with this big project, see what the state required, and then we could kind of revamp from there. So we have a little bit of guidance, and our special ed directors are planning on meeting after our next LACE meeting to go over, kind of make a rubric and different jobs that the kids can do, what that will look like for the following year. So the other thing I wanted to share is our preschool and infant screening. I don't know if you guys have seen this go out on Parent Square, but feel free to share this out with the community. We have screenings March 6th, 27th, April 17th, and then we'll do a half a day on May 20th. That's our last day of school. But it seems like we do all of our screenings in early spring, and then we get phone calls like, oh, we just moved, or we're moving this summer, can we get a screening? So that half day, we're gonna squeeze in a screening as well. So feel free to share. We do screenings from ages 3 months to 5 years of age. So we do that every year, but it always comes up pretty fast and get a bunch of kiddos in at the same time. So.
Mrs. Crawford, I noticed on upcoming events, you forgot pickleball.
If you would like to teach pickleball, we can add that in the fall. I cannot add any more to the spring, but we could add something to the fall if you would like to run that event.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay?
Yeah.
We'll work on that for the fall. Yeah, in the fall we do the football, and then we do a board game day. Board game day is hard. That's our hardest event. So we could actually use one that's a little bit easier. Board games, people don't like to lose. They're fine losing at other like.
Have you seen Jackie on the pickleball?
So I kind of dread board game day, but pickleball, who knows? We'll see.
Okay. Bring your eye protection.
Thank you.
Any questions or anything that was in my report? You know, you just volunteered for that, so.
Yes, they're always prepared.
All right, part B.
Thank you.
All right. So I wanted to focus on some of the great things that are just happening outside of the school day. Currently, there are 13 teachers who are tutoring students in both reading and math. Our last Parents as Teachers event, a lot of the staff banded together. We've got some, rough times going on in that department, and they put on a great pedal power event. I didn't get to go. I had already scheduled some. Anyway, they had a lot of fun. I heard all about it the next day. The preschool teachers got together and created break bags for parents over the break that they put together just so that those kids could continue to work. We're having open library night for grades 1 and 2, and that began last week, and it has been very successful. But 3 teachers are hosting, after tutoring, from 4:30 to 6, opportunities for kids to read independently, and then they have a story time, and then they end it with a game or a craft. So I think their first night they had 8, and then the other night they had 12 and 4 parents. So parents are staying to enjoy that, so that's awesome. First and second grade also both started Authors Club. Ms. Houck, who was honored earlier, in her group that she's doing, there are 29 students signed up. And they're focusing on writing, so that just supports the classrooms even more. And then Mrs. Manns and Mrs. Law are back at it again. But this time they're taking a different approach, and they want to bring parents together, and they're hosting a session tomorrow night called Creating a More Peaceful Household Through Healthy Boundaries and Communication. So we're excited to see what that turnout looks like. So great things happening.
Do you get a pre-count? Do people sign up to come? Do you have any?
Well, for Authors Club, yes, but the others are just, it's open, come join us, and we see what we can get.
Great.
And you have 13 teachers that are helping with tutoring. How many students do you have under?
Oh gosh,
13.
a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the traffic is back to my street, so it's a lot. I would say anywhere close to, how many do you tutor in a week?
Me?
Yeah, I mean, everybody
About
tutors.
5.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's about the average for each teacher.
Yeah.
But they're also doing different kids, different nights. So it's a lot of different kids.
so.
Yeah.
Well, and the numbers in your academic data summary, they're trending the right direction.
Yes.
I know, I mean, you're
Yes.
hitting outside of school, but inside of school, that's
Oh, yeah.
showing through also.
I think
Yep.
the STAR, I mean, I think you're already seeing that in the data.
Yep, yep. There, and that, yeah, that data is in there, in the report as well. We've been pretty excited to see just how drilled down that can get. I mean, if you look on the one page, you can see the notes that the teacher, or in this case, took, based on what the kid should have said, what they said. So, I mean, they're even breaking it down by sounds. Just what the kid hears, that if they hear it that way, that can be a whole different alert to different set of problems, so, yeah. Any other questions for me? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
CIS, Mrs. Rucker?
Good evening. Celebrations tonight. I would just like to throw another congratulations to Mrs. Kemper for her Outstanding Assistant Principal Award. She's very deserving of that honor, and we are blessed to have her at CIS, and we couldn't do life without the assistants, so that's fantastic. I also want to celebrate my CIS title team. They did some work over break, and we were able to get reading success plans updated and out the door with grade cards this year, and there's a lot of work to that. We keep track as we go, but then when you get hit with all of the winter assessment data, it takes a minute to get it all finalized. So those went home with grade cards, and then also we were able to start our new response to intervention groups with our new winter data a week sooner than we were expecting. So super proud of their work and their diligence in getting those things finished so we can continue hard work with kids. And then I'd like to celebrate not only our academic gains with STAR, but our attendance percentage is continuing to stay over 90, which is great. Knock on wood, we've got some sickness right now, but we're holding tight. And then our culture and climate survey results met our building improvement plan goals, so I was excited about that. These results don't come by chance. They come from hardworking educators within the buildings and within our district, and there's a lot to be said for the work that goes day in and day out through CIS and the other buildings as well. Any questions for me?
I love the kindness gene.
Yeah,
That's
that
pretty
just
cool.
came down, but it went up and down the main hallway is actually where it ended up going, so that was good. That was our second quarter goal.
I love the explanation given on the mindful movement career ladder incentive, or not incentive, but that Mrs. Pope is doing.
Yep,
It'd be interesting to see how that goes.
Yep, she started, I think, with 56 last Thursday. She was doing it every Thursday. So I walked in, and first day, everybody was in line, everybody was doing the things, and everybody was quiet. It was really fun to just watch for a little while. So she's doing a great job on that. It's something she's very passionate about.
Your academic summary also looks like it's trending in the right direction. You guys are doing good work on it.
A lot of hard work. You guys have great staffs here.
And way to stay healthy. I don't know how you have 92% in December, but that's pretty
I
impressive.
know.
That's great.
I probably shouldn't have said anything. I might be doing something different. Different story in February, but for right now, we're hanging in there.
Great job.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
All right, Mr. Fisher with CDMS.
I kind of focused on a lot of the end of semester one, kind of just some updates on some of the things that we've been doing. So the first thing is Beanstack, which is where our students and our teachers track minutes of reading. Last year we had a goal of 1 million minutes and we got into the 900,000s, didn't quite make our goal. This year at the end of semester one we're at 522,926. Well on our way to our goal. Second semester has more days. And so as of now we're on track to make that 1 million minute goal this year, so that's awesome. Attendance as well, we are in really good shape. We are up 8.5% over this time last year. So while we're not quite at 90, we're at 88.5, which again is 8.5 over first semester last year. And so that's a great trend. And in December, about over 50, almost 50% of our students had perfect attendance. in the month of December, and so that was a huge victory and a huge success. I think there's some more specific NWA results in there, but we saw really good growth. Overall 50% growth everywhere, but then we want to highlight math. 75% of all students saw growth in math across the 3 grade levels, and that is huge. And then specifically our RSP kids, we track those separately. Mrs. Lim, again, is still continuing to teach me about a lot of this data. She spent a lot of time on this, and we separated out the 20-some students we have on RSPs, and those are the kids that are getting extra support. And in the reading specific NWEA test, 60% of those students showed growth, and in language usage, 75% of the students that are on reading success plans showed growth in NWEA. And a lot of the students that didn't show as much growth, it's like maybe they were already here. And so, so just because those numbers, it's really encouraging what we saw. Survey, this was just last week. We got the attendance information I pulled out in these surveys. I could not be more proud. Today during team meetings, all of our staff looked at the surveys, looked at trends and things like that. But I wanted to really just key in on some real quick updates on the student survey. There were 41 questions that the students are asked. We had 280 respondents, so almost all of our students, not quite all of them, but almost all of them. We had improvement in every single question except one. Our scores would have been in that one, it went down by 100th of a point, and it was already above 3 on the 4-point scale. So really and truly, in my opinion, we went up in every single question the students were asked. And then the one this really just blew me away. The question that says, that as a student, I have goals and plans for the future. We were at 3.5. And when you're at a 4-point scale, there's no way to get 4 unless every single person, so that's never going to happen. So 3.5 is extremely high. And again, I'll say that again, I have goals and plans for the future. That really made me proud. And it was high last year, but that was still up a little bit from last year. So that won there. And so then the most important announcement I have tonight is we have our winter dance on Friday. And so if you know me, if you don't know me, that is literally my favorite night of the year. I look forward, no, I'm just kidding. But it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. And so we are having that. It's called the Blizzard Bash. Based on the forecast, I think we're going to avoid the snow part, hopefully. But I think it's going to be really cold. So if you know parents, please tell them to pick their kids up on time because it's going to be cold waiting to pick them up. But we are excited about that. The student council kids do work really hard to put those together. And it is a highlight of the year for the students. And they are pretty fun. The kids do a good job. So,
And a late night of 6:30, right?
Yeah, exactly. We did learn on Parent Square, if you're on there, I had a couple of people reach out and say, why are we doing a middle school dance at 11 o'clock at night? Well, come to find out, in Parent Square, if you went through it too quickly and didn't update your time zone, it put everybody on Greenwich time. And so it's putting all of your events at the wrong time. And so I only had a couple, and so hopefully they figured that out. But we're not doing a middle school dance at 11 o'clock at night. So just a heads up on that. It's from 5 to 6:30. So yeah, perfect time for middle school. So any questions?
I noticed you've got a book study on the anxious generation.
Yeah.
And for anyone who has not read that book, I highly recommend that book. I read the book. I went to a book discussion over in St. Joe over the summer, and it is eye-opening about the impact of social media and video games and devices, and it has direct correlation to what you guys are doing in the classroom. So I'm so glad to see that.
Yeah, Ms. Crowley is going to run that. I think it's a second semester thing, so I don't think it's happened yet, but it was part of her career ladder plan to host that book study, and so I think she's getting ready to kind of get that all going and stuff.
Yeah, whoever is on the fence, I say do it.
I will share that.
Yeah,
I will share that. All right.
Thank you,
All right.
Mr.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, back to Blaine again.
All right. Get to do this like once a year. Right? So, starting the second semester, it's starting the third week and, it's almost April. So that's pretty much how that rolls at the high school level. Had a really fun week last week. We did our annual duel against Lathrop. It's become like a tradition that we're been doing the last few years, and it's going to continue to grow. They came over to us and we wiped them off the mat, so it's always good when that happens. But we do appreciate them coming over. But it's a great experience for our kids and the community that was able to make it, just in the fact that those are experiences a lot of kids don't get to see and we're actually starting to explore different events that we could possibly do that throughout the day as well, and not just wrestling, but maybe look at basketball. My idea would probably look at a soccer event. I think that'd be awesome for our soccer team to get a huge rally going for that, but we haven't discussed that officially yet, so we'll go back to that. But I'm going to touch base on our survey results as well. We saw tremendous growth in all areas, parents, staff, and students. Biggest one for us is our staff results were really amazing compared to last year's. Lots of growth. I think we have 6 new faces, so it's 6 new opinions of how things are done. We also took a lot of things to heart last year whenever we put out our staff survey just in our building, and we had a lot of discussions, revamped a lot of things and how we approached it. So I think that helped a ton. But one of the things Mr. Irvin really wanted to point out was talking about the cleanliness of the building and the staff that we have working it. You would think that would come like as a given that should be, and it is not. And it is not hard. I mean, it's not easy to follow around a bunch of kids that we've had them in our house. We have them in our house. They're not clean. So it is a full-time job, and so I definitely want to give a shout out to them as well. Jim Mackey, our maintenance director, Lonnie Jenkins, Jerome Williams, they are both our maintenance guys, and then Shelly Danner, Sherry Roach, Jack Clemens, and Peyton Dice. I mean, they are working hard to make sure we are staying on top of that, and we're also harping on our kids too. We're holding them accountable at every chance we get, and clean up after themselves, and they do well. We have a good group of kids in the building this year, and really it's been a trend that I'm very happy to report from my first year in high school on. Like, it is just keeps getting better. So that's a testament to our kids, our families that are supporting it. Also, something else he wanted me to discuss as well. I'm more or less read it. We had 3 students that had artwork selected for display at the Missouri State University's virtual jury exhibition for high school art and design students. There were over 728 works submitted from students across 10 states. Only 321 of those artworks were given special citations, and we have 3 of them. So, that's always huge for us. It's, again, our arts at Cameron are continue to excel. So, also very proud of them with that. So.
You had mentioned, just a shout out to the custodial staff and parents, for supporting what you're doing in the school, your teachers and that sort of thing. But you left a segment out, and that is the leadership in the high school. So you all are doing a great job as well. And just appreciate, it's not easy, and appreciate all the efforts that go into that.
Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off
No, go right ahead,
because you actually reminded me of something else I was sitting there thinking, and I got up here and forgot to say it. So also with people that don't, they deserve to get recognized when good things are coming from them. Is, I've been an administrator in the district for 8 years now, and I've seen administrators come and go and do. One person I really want to give a shout out to is Miss Lim. She is working her tail off right now, and she's using her expertise as an instructional coach from her previous position, and she's learning a whole new position. And I can tell you from being a first-year administrator and to where I am now, that first year is absolutely miserable in the position she's in, because you're learning so much on the fly, and she asks a lot of questions, but more so than that, she's a quick learner, and even in some recent things that I've been working on, she's been a vital asset to have, because there's that teamwork aspect that we have and that we've built, and that's also comes from years of working together just in the district. So, if you see her, encourage her, remind her that it gets better, stay with it, it will get better. So, but anyway, sorry.
I just wanted to say the compliments always on our facilities when we have guests from outside, the cleanliness, so kudos to the students who have taken pride in our buildings. It takes everybody, teachers, students, and the custodial and maintenance staff, but there's not a time that I'm not in an event that somebody from out of town will go, wow, you guys, this is nice. And so it takes everybody to keep it that level, and I think there's a lot of pride there. And our students are the backbone of that pride, so I'm really, really proud of them for that.
Yes, I
Totally agree. Thank you for joining us.
agree. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry you had to wait to the end.
No, no,
Almost the end. All right, central office, Dr. Ormsby.
All right. Tonight's the night to talk about the climate and culture survey, if you haven't noticed. I did ask them to leave the domain overall to me, and they would focus specifically on their building item analysis. But if you weren't aware that the climate and culture survey is a big part of our CSIP. Goal 3.1 is that each year the climate and culture survey stakeholder satisfaction response average will increase 2% when compared with the prior year's average. So for everyone except CIS students, you're on a 4-point scale. CIS students are considered the young student survey, they're on a 3-point scale. So as Mr. Fisher was explaining, it's really hard to get a lot of movement there, and a score on anything on a 3-point scale or above is considered very satisfactory. So I am thrilled to report that we did partially meet our CSIP goal in that we've increased the overall domain over that 2% for grades 6-12, which is very hard to do, to move secondary students' opinion of school and the culture and climate. That speaks volumes to me. That's grades 6 through 12, and then also with staff. And those are the 2 areas that went up significantly. So grades 3 through 5, they did not show any increase from last year, the younger student scale, but their average is 2.56 on a 3-point scale. So it's gonna be hard to move that more unless every single kid's like, loving life every day. And that just doesn't always happen. And then our parents did increase, our parent score overall increased. I should say our 6-12 students, our average response was 3.01, which was an increase from last year of 0.07. Our staff went up to 3.44 on a 4-point scale, which was an increase of 0.3 of a point, which is huge. And then our parent survey increased to 3.17, which went up 0.02 from 3.15 from last year. And then to be more specific, if we look at our trauma-informed goal, this year, if you're aware, part of our PD plan was to go back and revisit trauma-informed training that we had for years, and then we stepped away from it, and this year we went back to it through Northwest RPDC. And each building has a trauma-informed committee that's led by the assistant principal in the building, and they come over every other month, and I host a morning session, and we have all the trauma-informed committees together in this, it's a little tight, but we have this really awesome morning for like 8 to 11 where we work as a building and then collectively as a district on better serving the needs of our students and staff in trauma-informed initiatives. So that's just looking at what can we do to make school a more hospitable environment for kids who have been through trauma, and how do we support staff who work with students who have been through trauma every day and help keep that from becoming secondary trauma for them, because it can very easily if we don't show them support. And it has been wonderful. I'm so happy that we made the choice to go back to that the listening, I'm kind of have a little bird's eye view and can just listen to all the different teams and the conversations that they have and the way that they soul search ways to support their kids and to support the staff is very moving. And then when you have a survey like this and it focuses specifically on the physical safety and emotional well-being that students and staff feel when they're in the building, it speaks volumes. As a district, last year we scored 2.96 for physical and emotional well-being, and this year we scored 3.32, which was an increase as a district with 0.3 of a point, which is huge. And I want to give a shout out to the high school because they were 2.56 last year, and this year they're at 3.31, which was an increase of 0.7 of a point, which is amazing. So to have that for your staff at the high school says a lot about what Mr. Erdman and Dr. Lanigan and their team are doing. So I'm really proud of them for that. Every building saw an increase. CIS went up 0.1 of a point on a 3-point scale, which is great. And then CVMS and CHS students also, I'm talking about students on CIS, also went up at least 0.1 of a point. So everything we're doing, I feel like is really benefiting our stakeholders, and I hope that with time our parents can see that as well and feel that on the home front. So.
And that it's a trend line of 4 years. You can see it going up every year, which is great.
Yeah. So we'll just keep on trucking. So any questions about that?
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to items under consideration of board policy C-145P. That is an update to the custodian of records policy to appoint Bridges. Is it Bridges Legal Services?
Yes.
Bridges Legal Services. The address and phone number and email would remain the same. Also distributed into your inbox was the contract that's associated with that, which we will also need to approve. Which, if you want a second to look through that, we can take a second, since that was a late addition to the.
I like that there's a cap.
No, this would be a
Just,
at will until we say
okay.
no more.
I would make a motion to approve that contract with Bridges for custodian of records.
Okay, I think let's see, we need a motion to include approval of the policy and then we need a separate one to the contract, so.
Okay.
I'll take the approval of the contract. Mrs. Clark has a motion.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Ice. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Do I have a motion to approve the,
Approve board policy C-145P.
so I have Mrs. Early with a motion to approve board policy C-145P, appointing Bridges Legal Services as custodian of records. Do I have a second? Second by Mrs. Peck. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. All right, any board member comments before we?
I just want to thank the kids for
Yeah.
bringing these first and second graders, kindergarten, just appreciate that.
All the little fingerprints represents each student.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
There's a lot of different things going on in the district right now, all the different sports, all the different academics. Dr. Robinson's been working hard on the high school project, so I think we're gonna start to see some movement on that, and I think that's exciting for the community.
Oh, I agree. It's gonna be very exciting.
Yeah, so yeah, just, keep moving forward. I think we're doing a good job with
Try and stay healthy.
it.
Advocate for public schools.
Yes.
Yeah, I encourage everybody to pay attention to what's going on in Jeff City and send an email. I think phone calls and emails from what, you hear from legislators.
Yeah.
That makes more of a
And
difference.
it helps with our constituents. They hear a lot from
Parents,
principals,
yes.
they hear a lot from superintendents, they hear from boards. But we really need our parents to be able to echo and say those same things.
Right.
They want, they want a quality education in their hometown.
Is there something that we can do to provide more information to parents through Parent Square that might just kind of enlighten everyone to what is going on and then give the information to who to reach out to? I mean, just a little push of information. So they don't have to go search for it. Like,
Right.
let's help them with that part of it.
We could do something like a legislative update and just kind of have a quick legislative update. These are bills that are moving, these are bills that, and then just put at the bottom, here's your representatives. It's Rusty Black's your senator.
And I think that's great, but
Yeah.
I think also to explain to people how it affects their school district.
Mm-hmm.
Just rather than here are the bills, you figure it out, like this is how it
Oh, I
will
agree.
impact the Cameron School District.
Yeah.
And if you feel compelled to reach out to your legislators, then here's the information. Just an idea.
That's great.
Yeah, every student deserves an education, right? I think we need to keep advocating for public education. I think our future depends on that. So we've always had a strong foundational purpose in this country that we thought education was important, and I think we need to change the narrative around that and get back to being positive and promoting education versus tearing it down with negative rhetoric. So I think it's imperative. We've seen shifts in our surveys by the way we have communicated and invested and worked and talked about how important education is, and I think as a community at large and a state at large and country at large, we need to get back to promoting education in a positive way. It would really benefit us all in the future.
Well, and to the extent that we have those conversations too, I mean, I was just talking with someone over the weekend about the State of the State address, and when you start talking through some of the impacts, I mean, it's something I think we don't really sit and really think about what it actually means, but when people realize what it actually means, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Let me, so I think it's on us to also be reaching out to our networks
And it's not red or blue, it's public education.
No, yeah.
That's what we're.
Yeah, it's about a child getting them educated so they can launch and be successful.
Okay. Any other comments?
Good, right?
Okay, next meeting is the 17th.